Hey everybody, how you doing today? In this book of backgrounds, I'm using leftover paint from another project, and I'm going to be working with bubble wrap, but I'm going to be using blue box items to do some stamping. And just to show you what I've got, you saw these are used already. I've got a synthetic cork from Magnata. I've got some, this is from a spiral bound book. That had perforation, so I kept that. I've got a feather, and I've got some thing that I removed from some type of paper. This, I believe, came from a monitor that I picked, that Joe picked up for me. What is this? Oh, this is the core from Doggy Bags, and then of course my bubble wrap. The colors I'm sticking with are what's left over from the previous palette. So what it is Decor Media Fluid Acrylics, Titanium White, Handsy Yellow Light, Handsy Yellow Medium, Pearl Orange, and Naphthol Red Light. And with the two oranges, one leans more towards orange and one leans more towards green. That way you get a little bit of extra contrast there. And I also have the Decor Media White Gesso, and it's thinned down with water. I don't want a heck of a lot of moisture on there. So I've got a brush here that's already damp. Just going to put a little bit of gesso on there. And I'm just going to slap a coat there, and it doesn't need to be super smooth. And I've already got one prepared because when you put thin gesso on here, sometimes the paper curls. So it's always nice to have this stuff already done. Nobody likes to do all this prep work. I'll just take that, put that aside, and bring out this one. And I'm still working on my pad of craft paper, which after a while is going to be so covered, and I'm just going to use it to create a book cover. And also, I'm going to get this out ahead of time. So what I'm doing is when I finish this, at the end of the video, I'm going to sneeze. At the end of the video, I'm going to ask a question, and then comments, answers to the question are posted comments below. And then a couple of weeks after this video goes live, Joe's picking a name. What I'm doing is I'm taking the background, cutting it in half. Half goes to the winner, and I'm keeping the other half, and then see what we can come up with. Okay, so that's that. Now, so this one's already prepared. It's nice and rough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work dark to light, and this is already used. But so what happens when you get the paint on here? It gets some nice texture. And let's just go. Oh, let me just block this brush a little bit. I don't want it to be too light, so I'm going to go straight to the red. Naphthol Red Light. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good color. So, you know what? Let me just slap that on there. So with the texture gesso, you get all this that nice texture on there. Use a leftover to spread that around. And knowing that I'm going to be cutting this in half, that's why I'm kind of putting some stuff in the middle. That way kind of gives a good opportunity to make something. So I'm going to go right over this with the red. And then I'm going to take some of the orange and just go right in here. So the red on top of red will create something dark. And where it's orange will create something a little bit lighter. And then the Handsy Yellow Medium, just a little bit in there. So while it's, oh, you know what? No, I'm going to do it this way. Yeah, usually if I take this over, it makes a mess, so I'm just going to go straight on top. Now what you can do too is as you press this down, if you let it sit for 45 seconds or so, you peel it up, the paint will be tacky, and you'll have the paint where the paint lifts up, and you'll have some different effects. It doesn't always work because it all depends on the type of paints you have, the type of bubble wrap, the type of paper, the type of gesso, and all that other goody stuff. Did it work? Yeah, it worked here, but it didn't work here. I put too much yellow on there. Look at that. Ugh. Ugh. Let's blot some of that up. I don't like that. Ugh. I don't like that. It was just too much. Couldn't see what the heck I was doing. That's actually kind of neat. All right, so now let's do some stamping. You know what? I want to put a bit more contrast in there. So if I'm going to turn this over, is going to be right here. A little bit more contrast. So I'm just going to push it down right there. And some of you may have experience doing this already with a jelly plate. You know, jelly plates can be expensive, so it's always nice to try different things. You can work on this wet on wet, wet on dry, doesn't matter. You can take the core of the cork, and I love doing this. And I like to overlap them, just not a full impression, but just to have a little bit of an overlap. Helps build a little bit of contrast. I'll go into the Handsy Yellow Light, right into the same thing. Oh, I like that. That's pretty. Okay, so that makes a nice stamp. What about this? What can I do with this? Oh, I think my chair. Joe bought me a new chair. He hasn't put it together yet. So you have one of those really super comfortable chairs that you've had like for a gazillion years and you don't want to change it? Yeah. So what can we put on that? If we just do a white again. White, a little bit yellow. I have no idea what that's going to look like. Like I said, usually I do this with the jelly prints. So let's go here. Put that down. See, now this is where I'll use the doggy bag core. I have no idea. I don't know if this is going to work. Oh, I got paint on the floor. Nothing that winning colors can't fix. Okay, so I'm a really sloppy artist. So I can take these little foam doodads. You can create some really neat little, it's just more for the color. The color, that's too light. So I'm going to go right back into the white. I'm liking the white. I'm liking the white. But it doesn't seem to be sticking. There we go. It's just getting the right amount. It creates some really unique impressions because this is, I'm not even going to bother with that. This is such a different type of thing. Oh, okay. And I'm wearing black jeans. What's going to happen? I'm going to take a bristle brush, my number 8 Bristle Bright. Let's get a little bit of gesso there. Let's see what's going to happen. Come on. This is where I need cotton gloves. Usually I'm not worried about getting paint on my fingers. I just don't want it today. I have a nasty habit of biting my nails when I'm bored, and so if I get too much paint on myself, then I have to use a scrubby pad to get rid of it, and it hurts. Okay, well that didn't do, well I can see a little bit, that didn't do much. Let's do a little more. Let's try that. I want the shape. Let's do it this way. Let's try it with that. Oh, there we go. We got a little bit of something there. That's it. That's it for the background. So, using blue box items for stamping, just all these different things. That's that turned out really. And what's really neat about this is that you can do 20 of these and they'll all look different. This is really cool. All right. So the question for you is, blue box is something that we have up here. It's just a recycle bin. So if you were to look at your recycle bin, pull out 5 things that you could use as a stamp, list them below, and then Joe will be picking out a random, he'll be calling out a number, I'm going to count down the comments, and that person's going to win half this background. But this background looks really nice the way it is. Maybe I'll do the whole thing. No, I can't. I got to do half because I got to use the other half to create the art on. So you get half the background. And all I ask in return is that you just share a picture with me with what you've created. Alrighty, so there you go. So answer the question, and we'll pick the names in a couple of weeks, and we'll comment below your comment to let you know if you've won. Alrighty, so I'm going to clean up now, and I have another idea for a background. I'm going to change up the colors a bit, taking again the bubble wrap, but breaking it, and to see what happens. Alrighty, so until I see you in that lesson, stay inspired.